Hello, everybody, and welcome to Living the Dream podcast. I got my man Tyrone ATL. That's going to be his hashtag. Y'all can follow him. He is a part of a media conglomerate that follows Atlanta basketball, Atlanta football, Atlanta baseball. Shoot, if there was news every single day in Atlanta, I'm positively, absolutely, expialidociously sure Tyrone and his boys are on top of it. We got some big news before we get into the conversations that we had with Dan Padover and Coach Tanisha Wright through via press conference. I'm going to be joining the group in a capacity that right now we're working on the ins and outs of it. But I'm going to be joining some people who I feel love Atlanta basketball and they love my product, they love my brand, and they want to be a part of it as well. So I'm happy to be a part of you guys' team. I'm happy that you guys want to be a part of essentially, in the future, my team. I'm happy. I'm all across the board. This is beautiful. I mean, in the last 2 years, Atlanta basketball has really grown, and Atlanta football has really grown. Sports in general in the city of Atlanta has grown. It has become the mecca that it always was. And we're getting back to that form. It reminds me of the Dominique Wilkins era. So I'm happy to be a part of it. Today's conversation, I wanted to get into, is Erica Wheeler a good fit for us? Was the trade for Kennedy Carter a good situation? Does it help both teams? I also wanted to get into, again, the press conference situation. We had some really in-depth, positive conversation with Dan Padover and Coach Wright about a lot of things that us Dream fans needed to hear. We needed it, to be answered. We got the Ari McDonald situation basically under wraps. We know what is going to happen, and that was, from Coach Tanisha Wright. So we're going to get into that, and we're also going to get into, what does this roster look like going into the season, especially since we've signed 2 people to our training camp, 2 individuals who we are happy to have on. One of them is an Atlanta native, so I'm really excited about that. So let's dive deep into it. How are you doing, Tyrone?
I'm doing good, man. I think like that press conference opened a lot of eyes. It opened if you were able to just listen to it and hear, like to be there and hear it like live, like it opens your eyes to a lot of the things that like we wanted to hear. They really gave us what we needed to know and what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, I personally think that the questions that were asked were again needed. We needed them to be answered. The first one I think that started off was that how is the Ari McDonald and Wheeler situation going to work out? And it simply was stated is that Tanisha Wright said a lot of the players, majority of the players that are on our team, are coming to her and say, hey, coach, whatever you need, whatever it is, we're willing to do it. That's the type of mindset that we didn't have last season that we have now. So these off-season moves that we've made, like in the form of Wheeler, the form of Kia Vaughn, the form of Nia Coffey, these are individuals who not only on the court bring it, but off the court can give you what you need. So I'm optimistic just as much as Tanisha is that she's going to help Ari McDonald, not hinder. It's not going to be a situation with Courtney and Kennedy Carter where we got a minute situation, and who gets more minutes than who. It's not like that. A lot of these players, again, are willing to write it out. They're willing to see what, optimism is what I talked about in the last video. Every game you need to be optimistic. That is the key that opens every door to every game is being optimistic. And that's what Dream fans need to be. We got some good players, some really, really good players, some studs. I mean, you look at Erica Wheeler, 13.6 points, 4.8 assists, 1.3 steals, and that was coming off of just one season 2 years ago. Okay. She missed out for COVID, and, glad that, she came back and was able to have this type of season. 82% free throw shooter, 2-way player for her to have 3 I want to say it says right here, 2.7 turnovers a game, but that overpowers almost 2.6 rebounds that she's making every single game. So we get a 2-way player, in exchange for, what we didn't get last season. So what's your take on that, Tyrone? Do you feel like Erica Wheeler is a great fit for Atlanta?
I think her experience is really the thing that we need, because let's think about it. You can have a great vet come in, and we've seen a lot of vets come into teams, and they're not that same player, and they're not that, they're not what you expect them to be. But it's what I think she's going to be doing behind closed doors, because Tanisha put it as, I'm going to do what you need me to do, coach. Yeah. And if that's going to be helping Ari become to her full max potential, is that helping these other girls that are on this team, all these other guards, we're going to probably draft a guard. We're probably going to, bring in some other pieces. If she's there to help develop, that's just perfect. I mean, she's going to fit this team. We're I wouldn't say we're as young as we were, because we brought a lot more vets in, but we're still a relatively young team. But let's be honest, you have a star at your guard position.
Exactly.
Ari's going to be a star. We know she is.
Yeah. So it's a better fit than what it was with Courtney Williams. You get a player that obviously loves to play both ways, on the court, but also at the same time, you got this young prospect that everybody, is wondering, is she going to get more minutes under Tanisha Wright? Is this going to be a situation like last season where, for, I think it was a 6-game stint or a 3-game stint, she got like 25 plus minutes. So
if you look at her career numbers, like just the Erica Williams career numbers, like she averages 3 assists and 2 turnovers. Like, so she's making a way of, and we don't know the system, because Coach Wright didn't really say what her system was going to be.
And you got to also put, take into consideration, they're signing players as the off season is slowly but surely getting into training season. We might see this roster formulate somewhere in between training camp and somewhere in between that first game, which I believe is May 7th, correct?
Yeah, it's May 7th.
And it's against the Sparks, which that is going to be a good game. Especially, it's going to be a test for us, with Liz Cambage, you got the Ogumake sisters, and now you got Kennedy Carter coming back, after being traded away from Atlanta. So that's going to be a real testament to see how Atlanta will go throughout the season, because they're arguably a contender. So, Tanisha
with the
Wright,
pieces we brought in, we're a contender. You can make it seem like, they're a new coach, but you got to think Coach Wright is and that's why Dan really wanted her, because you can tell the way Dan talked about Coach Wright, like he likes her, he likes her as the coach, like, and that's the thing where it was it had to come down from top to bottom, like he was saying, from the top to just the players themselves. Mm-hmm. Everybody has this new energy, and I think that's the thing, like. Yeah, that's what you want. And I think Coach Wright, she didn't give us details about her scheme, not even scheme, but like, how she wants to play. But like you said, to have play Kennedy our first, I think she's our first home game. I think we played the Sparks our first home game. So to have her back in Atlanta for her first game home, and to see, like you said, Liz Cambage and all of those people come in, it's going to be a test. It's going to be a real big test to wherever. Yeah. To see what we really are. Like, and you don't want to put too much on the first couple of games, but we don't have that many games at WNBA to be like, okay, we can wait mid-season. Like,
no,
I want to. You need them to go
from day one. You need the foot on the gas pedal, and I think that's what this team is going to be formulated around. Is that we need positivity. We need people who are going to play, who are going to give us the points that we need, the defensive stops that we need. Offensive moves, fast breaks. I personally believe that this team is moving in the right direction. When I was formerly a part of ICB Media, in a video that I had, I stated, that Optimism will strike a lot of these players as well. They'll now start to see, that, okay, we now have a core of like some people that we can work with. All we need is like that one person who comes in and can, like a Brianna Stewart, or Joe Lloyd, Sabrina Unescu, like.
I think we need a dominant 2 guard. Like we have great posts, and we have our point guard. You have Ari's the point. You need a dominant 2 guard next. Yeah. And if you get in free agency, you don't know what we got in this draft this year. You don't know who we bring in. Like the picks we have, like you said, you have 14, 15. I think we're number 3 in the first round, or we're number 2 or 3 in the first round.
We have the potential to trade the first round, to trade some first round picks to get potentially a Ryan Howard, which I would love to see. You're talking about a two-way guard, a two guard at the same time. That's someone who you can easily slot in, and I'm pretty sure with Wheeler, McDonald, they're looking at young talent this year. They're looking at that's what's going to be the steps that are needed before we get to that contention stage, and they feel that they can compete. They can compete. So we had a lot of other questions that were asked. I know that a lot of people were curious about the Kia Stokes situation, and Dan Padover simply stated that off season is from this time to this time, and a player has the option to decide whether they want to go here or they want to go there. She wanted to be in Atlanta, decided that eventually she wanted to stay with Las Vegas. That might have been the Liz Cambage situation might have been the implication as to why she stayed, them losing someone so big like that, Vegas. So that was answered. We had an answer about minute-wise, for a lot of the players when it consisted of like Ari McDonald. We discussed everything that, was pertaining to what they feel the next 2 to 3 years are. And Tanisha Wright, iterated that, who's to say 2 to 3 years from now, we're like in primal championship condition, to compete, within the finals. All these questions were answered, and you really can go back and look at this on Atlanta Dream's website. That it should actually be up within the next couple hours, if not already. But we were in this conversation with Dan Padover and Tanisha Wright, and got a lot of these questions answered that needed to be answered. So I'm hoping a lot of these, Ari McDonald, is she going to get minutes? Is it this? Is it that? Yes, she will. The prime goal is to incorporate something that I personally think is going to be like dual minutes. It's not going to be a Kennedy Carter,
Courtney Williams. I think that's more of a. I think that situation was more of we didn't have a coach. Let's be honest. We didn't have a coach last year. We switched coaches 3 times in one season. So if you would have had probably a stronger locker room, it probably would have been different. But to not have a strong locker room and to not have, and that was the thing where they spoke on, locker room issues. They got rid of them, literally. They got rid of your main one. We all know who we got. They got rid of the main one. But to say, like, they like on my notes was they saying they brought the vets in to help the rookies, but they're all like how they're professionals. These guys are professionals. Like they brought in girls that are professionals. Like these girls been in the league for a minute, and all they're here to do is to help the young girls out.
The girls at the same time, they have a talent. They have a talent that they're bringing in. I mean, you bring in Megan Walker off of waivers, and you bring in Kia Vaughn. And they both were on a championship run with Phoenix Mercury, played in some vital key postseason minutes. So yeah, I optimism is key, man. That really is the motto that people should follow if you're a Dream fan, is that optimism is key. There's a lot of things that we will not know now, but we will know, say, in the next month or so.
Yeah.
They will be answered.
I think my one key one for me, there's 2 of them. Dan Padover saying he was geeked up. First off, that was hilarious. That was the funniest. I was not expecting that from him to say that. But to say he was like geeked up about the rebuild, not even the rebuild, but I think this is more of a retooling. I wouldn't say it was a full, completely rebuild. Like, we're not going to get rid of all the players on this team, but we're going to keep the players that we want.
No, because Tanisha Wright said it. We have some dogs. Like, we got dogs. We know what we're capable of doing. I mean, you bring back Mo. Bringing back Mo is arguably on the roster side. Tip and Mo needed to come back. Yeah. We needed that. I don't think that Atlanta fans would have been as optimistic as they probably are now about the season. If you didn't bring Tip and Mo, because those were the 2 players that obviously showed you the best ability to they can push this team. I think both of them are going to get more minutes. I think both of them are going to get more of a say so in how this defensive and offensive schemes is going. And you look at how Monique Billings is playing in Australia right now, 17 points, almost a double.
Yeah.
So imagine implementing that to a starting lineup, and giving her the free range, hey, you go out and you do you, girl. We're going to help you out. We got some players that got your back. We didn't have that last year. Everybody was all for one for all. I'm going to get my shots up, and that's that. We don't have that now. We have a formulated team that is built around complete and utter positivity. And that's what Dan stated, is that we're bringing in positivity that helps build our youth. And at the same time, we're bringing in talent that helps our youth.
That helps us win.
But
we got to win, man.
The talent is still going to get their minutes, man. So
I think the Nia Coffey one was another one. Bringing up Nia Coffey, for somebody to ask that question and for her to say, I don't think we've seen the best in her yet, is another thing where it goes back to what he said when he's saying they're going to bring in these young professionals to build for the long run. Where these aren't retiring vets that we're bringing in. These are they're like 4 or 5 years in the league and they're still ready to play. They still got years left in them. And that's because that's why you consider them a young vet. And to build them for the long run, like we were talking about earlier, some of these people might just stay. We might just bring them in next year and just on bigger contracts and make them stay longer. If you're going to build this team up this year, I feel like it's the experimental, see how they play together.
It's like the first 2 years before Durant moved to the Nets.
Yeah.
Like, those teams were really good. Dinwiddie, really, really good. Jones, really, really good. Played really good together. You had a young Harris that was there that was formulating his shot, and then you bring in Kyrie, and you had D'Angelo Russell that was up there, and whatnot.
Yeah.
You trade away, D'Angelo Russell leaves, I believe, in a sign and trade to get KD. So I personally think that they're in that state where, it might be not this year we're going to see them in the finals. We're going to see them compete, though. There's going to be some teams that are going to be like, and I'm not going to bleep this out. They're just going to be like, fuck, we got to play the dream. Yeah. Like, we're playing the dream tonight. Like, it's not going to be,
that's that dog mentality Tanisha brings, though. That's really what she's bringing. She's bringing headbusters. And, like, even the people we signed, these are not small. These are, like, I asked the question about bringing in the bigs. We brought in bigs that are that aren't little.
Thank small, you. Like, Kia Vaughn is not going to just sit there and let you post her ass up.
She is going to put a body on you. Like, she brought in the women that are going to be like, hey, you going to put a body on me, I'm going to put a body on you right back. And we get that post play, you still got Monique here who's going to play your 4, you're probably your 4, or she might play your 3, but she's probably going to play 4.
I comfortably would like to see her play at the 3. I think when you space the floor out like that, when you space the floor out with her at 3, it puts, in a position where you now can have Kia or Nia Coffey be your 4.
Yeah.
And your 5, Kia Vaughn, and these are just I'm just in my mind. I can go through maybe 5 or 6 lineups that these.
It's going to be disgusting, and we still don't know who we're drafting. We still don't know who we're going to get. Like, it's just going to be so crazy. Like, it's going to be a point where it's going to be a body. It's going to be a physical team, and I don't think I think where in this league where WNBA likes to score. We know they want to score, and there's not a lot of people that going to want to be in the post. It's certain girls do, but not a lot want to be in the post half the game. You're going to have to be in the post with Kia. You're going to have to be in the post with Nia. You're going to have to be, if Monique wants to be in the post, she's going to put you in the post. And she's going to have a move that's going to shake you. And you're going to sit there and be like, wow, we're getting beat by 3 forwards. Like guard-wise, cool. They're going to score. But your 3 forwards are going to whip ass, bro. Like, they're going to just be there and just look at you and be like, come on. Like, you can't guard me. And that's the funniest part about it. Like, it's going to be a point where even if it's not this year, maybe next year, like, damn, Dream on the schedule. Fuck, we played a Dream the first game. That's really what it's going to be like. It's like, oh, man, our season opener is a Dream. Might as well go 0-1. Like, that's what I want other people, when they see their schedule, when they see the Dream, be like, well, might as well count this as a loss because we know how they play. Like, I just want us to play that bully ball aspect, and that's what Tanisha brings. you can tell when I asked her myself, I said, for you, what do you feel like as if like, for your experience, do you bring in like what you did here? And she was like, well, she played 15 years in the W. Yeah. That's she's had that dog. She was a dog while she was playing. And she's going to bring that to this team. It's all about mentality. And that's what they were saying.
Well, not only that, thank you for, reiterating on the optimism. Mm-hmm. Her having just yet alone 4 years in college basketball coaching as head coach will help excel this team with all the young talent that we're going to be acquiring through draft, through training camp, through all that. So this is a formula that I don't think people like say. I'm gonna throw out there like W Insider, Double Down podcasts. Like they're not seeing. They labeled Atlanta a pretender. They're a pretender. I don't think they're a pretender. Yeah. I think that they obviously can be a contender this year. Do I see them winning it all? No, I'm not going to be that optimistic. That type of optimism is insanity. And I'm looking at the optimistic side of it. We got young talent. We got young players. We got dogs. All of them are dogs. It's going to be a different type of situation. Now, we don't know the situation with Oddity Sims. Oddity Sims comes in the position. Who's to say what happens? It might be a new rendition of Tall Ball. We don't know.
Yeah. Like, I'm coming into this as I was last year with the Hawks. I came into Optimism last year with the Hawks. We signed Gallo, we signed Bogey, we signed Rondo. Tony Snell came down. All of those guys came in. And we're like, man, the young talent, we don't know how the young talent is going to perform. And then we go into the All-Star break, and everybody's like, oh, well, this is how the season is going to go, right? That's just we were 20, I think we weren't even in the play-in spot at the All-Star break last year. And to see it, develop like that, to see that development after the All-Star break, to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, when we weren't expecting that, when people were saying, oh, the Hawks really aren't that good, to go to Philly and win Game 7 in Philly, that's the type of expectation that I want to have for this team, where we go play Phoenix, and we're in Phoenix, and we go blow them out in Phoenix, and be like, oh, they beat Phoenix? Or we go play Chicago, and we go blow out Chicago. They blew out Chicago. I want people to have that same type of energy throughout this whole season, like where we just go and beat people, and they're just like, how'd they do that? How'd this team win? That's what I want to see for these girls, because I know we have a good team. I know this team is going to be good. It's just all on how we develop this young talent we have, and how these vets come in and play. Because mind you, all these vets, this was Erica Wheeler's first season off of a COVID year, and this is her highest scoring season. She didn't score. She hadn't averaged. She hadn't even averaged. Let me see. Her highest. She averaged 13. Her best season before then was in 2017.
But every single year since then has progressed.
She's just gotten better.
She has just
gotten better.
Now she's in a place where they want her. They traded for her. They traded arguably, possibly someone 5 years from now that's going to be an all-star. I think she'll be an all-star next year.
I think Kennedy will give her 2 or 3 years. I really don't think she was the problem. I think that when you have such literally an all-star sitting in your lap, and a first-round pick and a second-round pick, you got to take that. There's a no-brainer on that. You have to take it. And that's what Dan kind of said. Like, the deal was just too good. Yeah. Like, it was just too good. Like, you can't take away the best deal you could have got for her. And, we love Kennedy. Everybody loves Kennedy. She's a fan favorite. But sometimes it's just, you got to separate your fanism to business. And your loyalty to a certain player to business. We got an all-star. She wasn't an all-star yet. And we got draft capital. That's what I'm really looking at more. The draft capital we got. Because that brings in more and more talent, no matter how you see it. Exactly. We could trade those picks away to get another star. You don't know how we're going to do this. And that's the thing with Dan. Dan he didn't give you a lot of details about what we were going to do with him. But you just don't know.
I like that. I like that he's not giving up every single move that possibly he could make, And I also like that there wasn't a lot of questions that were centered around that. It was more centered around the team, and everything. So, looks like Tyrone's iPhone.
I'm here. I'm still here. I just had to turn my camera off.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I think just to end this on a high note, we want to thank. I want to thank Tyrone, and I want to thank everybody who is continuing to still watch these videos. I know that a lot of my subscribers were centered around my former co-hosts, friends and whatnot. So the people who do still watch this, I appreciate it. Also, these videos potentially will be going out every Wednesday. So I'm not sure if I'm going to send this out. I'm not. I'm going to put this out today and incorporate this in with the episode 1, because I know episode 1 was only 8 episodes, an 8-minute episode. I went super in brief with that, but that was simply because it was a lot of information that I had to give you guys. So
yeah, we've been busy. Let's be honest. The Dream have been busy. Like, if you're not, I'll put it like this. Even if you're, I wouldn't even say fair weather. Even if you don't follow the Dream as close as everybody else does, it's this is what you kind of sort of want to listen to this. Like, this is a podcast you will listen to, because we're at least going to give you something to know. So if you watch the game, you're not completely lost.
Exactly. And I hope that that's the what people are feeding off of, because I take a lot of time, to give you guys some high quality content, especially, when it comes to the research. Now that I got Tyrone, that's going to be our co-host. Not too sure if he's going to be on every single Atlanta Dream episode. We're still kind of working that out, just with timing and whatnot, work, everything. But hope you guys like this video. I'm actually going to end this one right here, and we will see you guys in the next one. Episode 3 will be a rundown of our training camp signings. So hope to see you guys in the next one.